taglines and their idiosyncrasies and the things they repeat over and over. But I love it. It brings me home. It's something that, you know, if you came from a small town or you have a hometown team you root for, you know their announcers, you get to know them, right? You may have never met them. Fortunately, I've met both of them. But you get to know them. And that's how truly special Brian and Eric are. So with that, I'm gonna let them come up and speak a little bit about what this means to them. So with our second induction, I'd like to welcome Blue Chip Broadcasting, Eric Davis and Brian Nelson.
So you think for somebody who talks for a living, this should be easy. It's not. I actually tried to write some stuff down. We'll see how close I stay to it. I have a tendency to wander. First of all, I want to thank the university, the administration, the athletic department, and anybody in the world who had anything to do with this. Thank you. It is our privilege and pleasure to be up here today. It has been one of the joy of my life to be able to do what Brian and I got to do. But today is a day where two things can be true at the same time. And so, though first of all, I am incredibly proud of this enshrinement, and of course that's a word I never thought I'd use in context with something I did, but okay. But I'm also completely humbled by this award. It's something that was completely unexpected and out of the blue. Something that when you do something for the joy of doing something, you don't expect to get a reward or some kind of recognition. But sometimes God's good when He smiles. He says, hey, here, take that. And I'm ever so grateful. But I am humbled. Just a little story. When I was about 12 years old, me and my high school what became my high school best friend, we were friends at junior high. We would go to Turlock High School and Cal State Warrior basketball games, and we would sit on the top bleacher every time where nobody was around us. And we were pretending like we were calling basketball games on the radio. Imagine the full circle moment this is. Now I don't have to sit in the top row. I can get to sit on the side. Pretty cool. But that's where this kind of dream all started. And I was so fortunate to be able to live out my dream. The first broadcast that I ever did on the radio was with another buddy of mine. We got this wild hair that we would put a high school basketball game on the radio. We got contacted by Gary Schreiber, local small radio legend, right? We took and we hooked up a cell phone to a coach's office landline, ran a cord about 200 yards, or not 200 yards, 200 feet to the top of the bleachers once again, and Maury Elliott and I stood there with a cell phone and passed it back and forth and put a high school basketball game on the radio. What Gary Schreiber has put together since then with the help of so many others is absolutely remarkable with what Brian has today that he's working with, and the quality of the broadcasts that can now be put out. It's absolutely amazing where this has gone, and to think that that's where it started. I am so humbled that we can stand here today with that as part of our beginning. So that's the first of two things that can be true at the same time. I'm so proud and yet so humbled. The second thing is I'm very happy for this moment. I'm excited. It's just a gift to be here, but I'm also sad. 5 years ago, I relocated, and I now live in Idaho. Been a great move for a lot of different reasons, but I'm sad because I'm not here on the daily. I'm sad because I don't get to sit with this guy on the regular. I'm sad because I miss the baseball opener next week. I'm sad because I don't get to come back occasionally and do this for grins, right? But more importantly than that, this has given me the opportunity to work with incredibly class individuals. And in particular, the guys that I'm talking about are some of the coaches that we have on staff. Paul Trevor, Kenny Leonasian, Wayman Strickland, Jordan Santa Maria. These guys are more than just coaches to me. They're friends. They walked through absolutely life-tearing apart events with Brian and I. They carried the burden of the loss of Carter. They carried the burden when my wife was in the hospital and close to death. They carried that with us. They're more than just friends, right? They're family. They're loved ones. And the reason I'm sad is I lost that relationship. But more importantly, they went through their own stuff since I've been gone, and I wasn't there for them. Kenny's oldest got married to one of our interns. I couldn't be there. Paul dealt with his own health issues. I couldn't be there. Wayman had his integrity attacked. I couldn't be there. Jordan had his first child, and I couldn't be there. And I want you guys in particular to know what you mean to me and how sorry I am that I couldn't be there. You guys deserve it. I love you. And if there's anything about this job that I regret, it's that I've left you. I miss you, and though I wasn't here in person, know I was with you spiritually. Know that I care deeply about everything that happens in your lives. You've influenced my family, Kenny, by coaching my son. Paul, your intense positivity during some really difficult moments changes my focus on the daily. Wayman, being able, if you're here, Wayman, being able to stand tall in the midst of some hard stuff, I appreciate that, like you have no idea. And Jordan, I wish I was there to watch your child grow. You guys are the best. So though I am incredibly happy, I'm also incredibly sad about that one thing. Finally, though very honored, I feel incredibly undeserving. I talk a lot, and sometimes I talk very fast. Is that really worthy of the Hall of Fame? I don't know. I'm grateful. But let me tell you, the heart and soul of Blue Chip, it never was about two people, it was about a group of people. There are people, and fortunately I read Brian's speech, so he does a lot of the thank yous. So I'm just piggybacking on what he's going to say later. I got to cheat. But there's a whole lot of people that went into making Blue Chip what it is. But the most important thing that you need to realize, the heart and soul of Blue Chip stands to my right. Through our experience doing what we do, I took a friend and acquaintance and I found a brother. I took somebody that I knew and liked and found somebody that I could count on when I was at my worst. Somebody that I could give something to at some point when he was at his lowest. I found somebody that even though we may be miles apart, we are right there together. I'm just fortunate to be along on this ride. What Brian does is incredible. He covers every single weakness that I have. In other words, he does everything I just talked. I can't replace that. I thank you. I'm so grateful that you are who you are, the man that you are, the friend that you are. Brian Nelson, I love you. And this really belongs to you. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you. I was only about half of this.
Well, that's not fair. Get me all weepy before I even start. Thank you, Eric. And as you'll hear, there will be a lot of mutual admiration society here today. When, to Eric and I, in the fall of 2010, he said, hey, I'd like to get together for lunch. We haven't had anybody do games on the radio in a long time. This was in the fall of 2010. Eric and I were like, sure. We'd been doing high school football for a few years and had started to develop and thought we were doing a decent job. And we had lunch with Hung and fellow inductee Dr. Richards here, we'll talk about him here in a second, and sat down and said, hey, what do you guys think? Let's try this for a few games, see how it goes, and we'll kind of go from there. Never in a million years would I think that Eric and I would be standing up here today, being inducted into the Stan State Hall of Fame. It is an honor beyond anything I could ever have comprehended. I graduated from here a long time ago, before most of you were probably born. And to be inducted with people that I've known, some I went to school with, some that I watched from the top of the stands, is an incredible, incredible honor. And I thank you so much for that. Now I'll get into what I wanted to say, except I gotta make sure I grab the right speech. Okay, somebody stole my speech. Oh, this is always great. Hey, now we get to Van. Now this could get scary. There it is. I found it. It got buried. As Eric said, we so appreciate that we're being inducted as Blue Chip Broadcasting, not just Eric and I, because it means so much more than just he and I. We're the ones everybody hears and sees, but he said Gary Schreiber, who has volunteered his time for over 20 years. If you've ever heard our broadcasts, you've heard our commercials, Gary does those, and those sound just like anything you would hear on KNBR or any other radio station or television station. He does all that as a volunteer. And he is a super talented individual. And his encouragement and support to get Eric and I to believe that we could do this, could never thank him enough for that. And Spencer Boyd, who is our current station manager, he makes sure that Levi and I are live every time. That's over 80 times. That's not his real job. He's got a real job. He takes time out of his day, whether he's at home or he's traveling, and he knows when we go on, and he makes sure everything is as it should be, and if it's not, he lets us know right away. And that is a tremendous commitment we could not imagine. We have had, as Eric mentioned, interns. We have had the most amazing interns. I wish I could list them all, but we'd be here until the tip of Coach Trent's game today. But what they have provided to us, they have supplemented what Eric and I do. They produce, they've helped promote, they've helped us do social media because Lord knows Eric and I cannot do that, should not do that, and don't want to do that. They've hosted our sponsor appreciation nights for all the sponsors we've had over the years. It has been a joy and a gift to know them, to be invited into some of the most special moments of their lives, and to see them grow up, to spend countless hours with them, and to see them move on to bigger and better things has been truly, truly a blessing. Now, one thing Eric didn't mention that I got to keep to myself is we have a podcast called Get in the Game. And Eric, myself, Eric's son-in-law, Reggie Wright, and the kid, who is not a kid anymore, he's a dad, Jordan Santa Maria, one of my favorite things I've ever done. We didn't quite hit the 100 episode mark, we did 98. And the time that we spent around the table, sharing stories, the laughs, and Jordan, mostly at Eric's expense, were great. One of my favorite moments, we did best ballpark food ever. And somehow, some way, Rocky Mountain oyster sandwiches made their way into the conversation on blaming Reggie, because he's not here to defend himself. I still laugh about that, and I still think it makes Eric queasy. The other thing that was fun, and Jordan, you probably haven't heard this name in a while, our year-end special award show, and the only time I've ever talked about the marathoner, Eliud Kipchoge. And if you don't know who it is, look it up. The guy's unbelievable. He ran a marathon in less than 2 hours. That's insane. Thank you to the men and women who have sat and been the analysts. Whether Eric or I could not be there, or now that Eric's gone, the people that have stepped in and sat with me, especially during the baseball season. Larry's here today. What a blessing, what a gift it has been to have them sit beside me, to sit beside Eric and I, to have fun. Their professionalism, their expertise, their insight, their communication. And just so you know, every year, Coach Trev comes and he is a guest analyst for baseball, usually one of the last Friday night games of the year. That is a can't miss broadcast. We get our highest ratings every year, and it is so much fun. And believe it or not, Trev knows his way around the baseball field. He's great, and we just have a ball. And so thank you to each one of them who give of their time to do that, to make it easier. And that way for me, it's not a 7-hour monologue on Saturday and Sunday afternoons. To the athletic directors over the years, Bill, thank you for giving us a chance. If you hadn't said yes, none of this would have happened. To Mike Matoso, who let us loose and let us do as many games as our schedules would allow, and gave us the confidence and the platform to improve our skills, to build, I think, hopefully a positive following, and to really take things to the next level. To Terry Donovan, who encouraged me to stay on after Eric moved to Idaho. I'll tell a story about that this almost didn't continue. And now to Aaron Allaire, who has allowed us to add volleyball and softball to our list of broadcasting. And someday, Gabe, I promise we're gonna add soccer, I just gotta find somebody. Thank you to Joe Danahay and Levi Flores, who have made sure that Blue Chip continues to provide high-level coverage as we move into the future. If you've not had a chance to listen to Levi do the women's games, he does a phenomenal job, and he not only does women's basketball, he does volleyball and softball as well. Thank you for your professionalism, Joe and Levi, and also thank you for your friendship. All right, Eric stole a little of my thunder because as I turn my attention to these three men, Wayman Strickland, Paul Trevor, and Kenny Leonasia. They don't like being talked about, so they have to stand in the back and they just have to listen and know that I'm talking about them. Wayman, thank you. I know he's in the middle of getting ready for a basketball game right now, but Wayman, thank you for your kindness, your encouragement, your support. I love you like a brother, and I just appreciate, I miss the fact that I don't spend the time with Wayman that I used to as I moved to just the men's basketball and baseball to fit with my rest of my schedule, but I appreciated him. He has provided me so much encouragement, support, and I just am so thankful for him. This might be tough. Trev and Kenny, thank you, gentlemen. You have been way more than just coaches I interview before the game. You've become two of my dearest friends. I appreciate everything about you. Your encouragement, your kindness. We laugh. We've cried together. We've celebrated together. Everything you have done and everything you are is such a gift to me. And I know that our friendship will continue long after all of us have moved on from this great university. Thank you for sitting with me, for laughing with me, for crying with me when I lost my son. Thank you for allowing me to celebrate some of the great moments in your lives, and also to walk side by side, shoulder to shoulder with you through some of the darkest and toughest times of life. I love you guys like brothers, and I appreciate you so much. To my kids, Cassie, who has had to adjust and flex more birthday parties than anybody I know. Now, she does have 6 kids, so there's a lot of parties to adjust and flex. In fact, tonight, she had to flex because my sweet little granddaughter Ava here is 1 year old today. There we go. And I would sing, but that would be rude, because I can't sing a lick. So happy birthday, sweet Ava. Thank you, Cassie, for all your flexibility. It means a lot to me. To my son, Cody, who has flexed a lot of family activities, but also he and my wife were the ones who, when I thought about just saying enough, I lost my son, pandemic hit, my broadcast partner, my best friend moved to Idaho. It's like, I'm not good enough to do this on my own. I don't know if I want to do this on my own anymore. And they encouraged me to give it a try. Sometimes I might regret that decision to encourage me to give it a try. But Cody, thank you for encouraging me, supporting me, and just being there to know how much I love doing this. Thank you. To my sweet Camille, who flew up from Orange County today. She is the one who, when I started this, she was 10. And so she's kind of known this for a long time, that Dad's kind of not around a lot during the winter and spring. Thank you for supporting, encouraging, and making your way up here today. And to my son, Carter. For those of you that don't know, Carter was our producer and board operator for 2 years here during men's basketball season, back in 2013 and 2014. And he chose, as a freshman in high school, to spend his Friday nights with his dad and his dad's best friend instead of going out with his friends, because he loved doing that. Of course, he'd get frustrated because we had a string in 2014. Not only was it a great year, we made it to the NCAA West Regional Final, but we had 5 straight Friday nights we were winning overtime. And he was like, oh, Dad, you gotta be kidding me. Not again. Not again. But it was a treat to have him there next to me, and I will always treasure those memories. To my amazing, amazing wife, Erin. Today, I am honored as a Hall of Famer, but you are the true Hall of Famer in our family and in our community. The work that you do to minister to grieving children and their families, to change lives for generations, is an inspiration to everyone who knows you. And I know it's hard after you work all week long, and then from November to May, your husband's gone, most weekends. Thank you for your encouragement, your support, to be there to encourage me to continue to do something that I love so much, and to be with the people that I love being with so much. Thank you. I love you. To Eric, thank you for encouraging me to go on this crazy journey 20 years ago. You remember when we talked about it for the first time? It was in your office when you were principal at Turlock Christian School. And he goes, hey, you ever thought about doing this? It'd be kind of fun. I don't know if you didn't want to do it with Maury anymore, or Maury wouldn't want to do it anymore. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I got the opportunity to sit in, and we, no joke, Eric's talked about passing the cell phone back and forth. What he didn't tell you is we did it on scaffolding one time at a football game. And something happened and got excited. I kind of stood up and the whole thing went, whoa, and I quickly sat back down. And then we were able to do the NCAA Division II men's basketball tournament and come so close to going to Evansville, Indiana. And we were trying to think, I don't know if everybody remembers this. Jody remembers this, I know Milton remembers this. We used to have, the board I have now is tiny, but the first board we had, no joke, it was this tall, it was this wide, and it weighed about 100 pounds. And I'm thinking, how am I gonna get this thing on the airplane to Indiana? Unfortunately, I never had to figure that out, but we had a chance to do that. We got a chance to call a game courtside at Pauley Pavilion. How cool is that? That we were blessed with that opportunity. My friend, the car rides, the late dinners on the road, all the prep meetings at Limo, including Thursday. Remember waiting for our flight that got delayed in Seattle, and it kept getting delayed, and delayed. And just, you know, Eric and I have real jobs too. And so we both had to go to work early the next morning, and we're like sitting in the Seattle airport, it's like 9 o'clock at night. And we're thinking, okay, how many hours of sleep we're gonna get? How many hours of sleep we're gonna get? And it kept shrinking. Those were amazing. They're some of my favorite memories of all. And to do it beside my best friend, I miss so deeply having him by my side on the air every game. It has been an absolute treat to have him with me this weekend, back on the air where he belongs. And if you have not had, if you're new to Stan State and all you've heard is me, please tune in tonight, because it's worth listening to. He is as good as anybody you will hear, I don't care what level. He is absolutely so talented. And finally, thank you to the Stanislaus State family. I describe you as my second family that I get to spend the winter and the spring with. It is truly an honor and a privilege. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee, to all of you who made this special day possible. From the bottom of my heart, I so appreciate it. Thank you that my family and my friends could celebrate here with me, and congratulations to the rest of the class of 2026. Thank you so much.